everyone, my name's Christy. Welcome to my corner. Thank you so much for joining me today on this Flosstube Friday for Flosstube number 52. And I have quite a lot to talk about. It's been 2 weeks since the last time I had a Flosstube. I'm still posting weekly, but I am on a fortnightly Flosstube schedule just because, you know, my schedule is getting more busier now with kind of my sabbatical really underway. Things were opening up, and so I was actually doing social things, although that's not happening so much anymore. We're kind of going back into isolation because of the Delta variant spikes in my area. We are kind of one of the hot spots of COVID at the moment, so we're trying to hunker down a bit. But I still have lots of work to do. So the fortnightly schedule still works well for me for Flosstubes. And then on the alternate days, I am posting the, you know, my extra videos, my history videos or my tutorial videos, that kind of a thing. To make a long story even longer, what this means is that I have a lot to talk about today. I have Happy Mail, I have whips, I have plans and haul and wedding update and book update and all sorts of different things. So yeah, stick around. It's going to be a really good, well, and grab a drink because it's going to be a long one, I think. But it's going to be a good one. But before we get to that, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you so much for joining me on my artistic and crafty adventures. And welcome back everyone who has been hanging out with me for however long you've been with me. It's been so nice to get to know you in the comments here on YouTube and also on Instagram. And if you're not on Instagram, you can find me at Dr_Christy. I'll put that right here. And that is where I post pictures of my daily stitching and life and baking and updates and stuff like that. So if you're interested in seeing what I'm doing during the day, you can find me on Instagram at Dr_Christy. And I don't post a ton of pictures. I think the most I post is like 3 pictures a day. So it's not like I'm spamming you with pictures. It's like 1 or 2 pictures a day. But you can see what I'm up to at Dr_Christy. This is a channel about embroidery and cross stitch and other textile crafts and baking and history and the history of all of those things. So if any of that is interesting to you and you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you subscribe and stick around. First, I want to thank you all for your kind words about and comments about my last Friday's video, which was the Corticelli home needlework journal flip through and kind of history. If you haven't seen that yet, you can find that up here. I'll post a link. And also for your kind words about my surprise year Flosstube anniversary kind of throwback video where I just kind of did a run through of all my finished objects that I've done from August 14th of 2020, which was my first Flosstube, until August 14th of 2021. I thought that would be kind of a fun little, I don't know, extra that I posted on Saturday, and I'll put a link to that up here. So thank you so much for, I don't know, just watching them and enjoying them and saying such nice things about them. I appreciate that very much. And it makes me, I don't know, it makes me feel like, I don't know, I'm doing something worthwhile, I guess. Now, if you do not watch Jody at Trixie Tricycle, you should definitely go check her out because she actually got a box of Corticelli silk thread. And she's doing experiments about them. So I'll post a link to her channel down below. And in fact, I'm going to talk about a few other Flosstubers. So I'll post links to all their channels down below. But definitely check out Jody's channel, Trixie Tricycle, because, I mean, she's really fun to watch and is an excellent person to watch. But her most recent videos show the silk, I think sort of 2 videos ago, she shows the collection of silks that she got. And these are the, you know, from the 20s, 1920s, right? They're 100-year-old silks. And then in her last video, she talks about stitching with them and talks about kind of how, a little bit about how they felt. And I think she's going to do more experiments with them. So I'm excited to see what she's up to. And you should check her out as well if you're not already watching her. I did have a couple of really lovely shout outs this past couple of weeks. So first I want to thank Denise from Black Ribbon Stitch Studio, who said some really nice things about me. If you're not watching Denise, you should. She's really fun. She has really excellent stitching that she does. She also does crochet, and she has a crochet pattern. I think it's for a sweater. I don't crochet, so I'm not remembering exactly, but I think it's for a cute sweater. But she has a crochet pattern that she made. So check out her channel too. And she's kind of going through a rough time right now. So Denise, I just wanted to let you know that I'm thinking about you and your husband. And I want you to know that I'm sending good vibes and that you're in my thoughts, and I'm, you know, I look forward to positive updates with that. And if you're not watching Denise at the Black Ribbon Stitch Studio, you definitely go check her out. Carrie from Carrie and Stitches also gave me a shout out, which I really appreciate, and said really nice things about my channel. And I also won her, well, one of her 1,000 subscribers giveaway. So that was really exciting. So thank you, Carrie, for that giveaway. But she is really great. Again, she has excellent stitching. She has a shop where she sells things like needle minders and scissor fobs and all sorts of really pretty stuff. So check her out as well. If you're not already following her, I'm sure many of you who are following me are also following her. All of these people have way more subscribers than me, but you know, I just want to talk about people that I enjoy watching, and these are people I enjoy watching. I also want to show some love to Sarah from Our Stitching Kingdom and her daughter Alice, who made an appearance I think it was this past video, which was really sweet and showed her artwork as well. They both got gold ribbon, or blue ribbons, sorry, not gold ribbons, blue ribbons in their county fair for their cross stitch and diamond painting. And so congratulations to both of you. That's really exciting. And so check her out as well. I want to talk about my Happy Mail. I got a message from a stitchy friend that she was, that she had some old embroidery books that she had found, and she thought I might like them, and if I would want them. And I'm like, heck yeah, you know, I mean, if you've been watching me for any length of time, you know that I love me some antique, retro, vintage stitching books. Like that has apparently become my jam. I'm starting a really amazing collection of these like antique and vintage stitching books. And then we were chatting on Instagram, and she was like, what did she say? She said, oh, I told her I was so excited. She's like, she had shipped them, and I'm like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to get them. She's like, well, don't be too excited. You know, they're just old books that I found in like my grandmother's box in her attic when she was moving to California. I'm like, it makes me even more excited. Like, of course I love the books that you find in like the attic of the grandmother who's moving. Those are the best books. Anyway, very excited. So she sent me, let me organize myself here. The first one is the Better Homes and Gardens embroidery. And this is 42 projects with complete how-to techniques and traditional treasures. Okay, so this is Better Homes and Gardens. But this is from 78, so it's a year older than me. And some of it's a little bit dated, but some of it's, I mean, like, so I think maybe the colors are a little dated, and we'll talk about colors in a minute. I want to talk about colors. Maybe I'll talk about colors right after I talk about this book, but the colors are a little bit dated, but honestly, like, I could see that up in someone's house right now, and it has like the pattern as well. And I'm not going to worry about showing the pattern. It's 42 years old, right? But like this, I mean, I think that that's kind of timeless, right? I think that that's really a cool pattern. I mean, it's just kind of a standard floral pattern, right? And I think that that's fantastic. I don't know. I think it's wonderful. Ooh, and there's a little counted work happening in there, so that's nice. Anyway, I haven't had the chance to look through this. It's been a difficult couple weeks. Although I don't know that I like creepy dude in the background. He's like, hey guys, how do you like my embroidery? Oh, goodness. But there's some great stuff in here. So I'm really excited to go through this one. So this is the 1978 Better Homes and Gardens embroidery book. We'll just put it right here for now and hope it doesn't fall on the floor. That's going to fall on the floor. We'll just put it on the bottom. And then she gave me Erica Wilson Crewel embroidery. And you know that I've been doing that. Well, those of you who have been around a while know that my fiance got me a crewel work course from the Royal School of Needlework, a self-paced course for my birthday that I have started, and I had planned on finishing up this summer. I'll get to that. So I'm really interested in crewel work, and this is from the 60s. Sorry, it's noisy. This is from the 60s. This is from 62. And oh goodness, again, I haven't had the chance to look at it, but that's on the, like, the first image. So excited. Look at that ridiculous lion. I love it. I love it so much. I love ridiculous lions. I did this ridiculous lion in embroidery a couple years ago. Well, a year and a half ago maybe. And oh, this is amazing. Like, look at that. Look at the animals. I love animals. I just think, like, stitching animals. I like wearing animals. Not like animal skins, but like images of animals. I love it. So this is all different crewel work images and colors and techniques, right? Like how you frame it up. This is actually not that different from the journal from last week. I wonder if there are any patterns. Oh, different stitches, which will be very helpful. So here's, you know, all sorts of different stitches. And yeah, like I said, this will be very helpful because I'm doing for my temperature library next year, for my 2022 temperature library, I'm going to be doing each book in a different stitch. I'm going to fill it with a different stitch. So having all these like old stitches, like old stitching books, is really helpful because it's going to be difficult for me to find 365 different stitches for each, you know, one for each book. It's going to take a lot. So having all of these, and I don't have any over here, but I have a whole like stitch library happening over there that I think it's gonna work. It's gonna work. But we'll talk more about that later on in the year. However, I'm planning for it now. That's kind of one of those things that I have to plan ahead. It's not, I don't think it's something that I can just wing. She also sent me a few Just Cross Stitch magazines. I'm just going to show you the back page because this is Just Cross Stitch has all of the projects on the back page. And there are some really cute ones. So here is, this is, oh, the most recent one, August of 2021. And that's really, oh, look at that. 46 is really pretty. 49 is also really pretty. Actually, a lot of these are really pretty. This is a really pretty one. So I think there are a lot of really interesting stitches happening in here. And some ornaments, which is good because I'll talk about in a minute. So this has some ornaments and some other really great stuff. We have the June 2021, which I have. So I might do a giveaway of this later on. This will be a giveaway. I hope that's okay. We have April of 2021, which has gnomes. It has gnomes and some other stuff. And look at 15. Oh, isn't that beautiful? What is that? Is that just kind of like an Eastery thing? Oh, that's really pretty. And then it has plants. Page 5 is pretty too. So this is, oh, and the bird's on the front. I like the bird. So that's a good one. There are always like there's always at least one pattern in all of these that I like. So that's all that really matters in the end. And then this one is February. And it has, I just love landscapes. I love landscapes. And look at that. 36 is beautiful. Gnomes again. Oh, I liked 56 too. The birds and coffee and number 50. So anyway, so lots of really good stuff. Ooh, is that in here? Ooh, and the one that's on the cover is super cute. That would make a super cute wall hanging. I would totally wall hanging that. What page is that? How big is it? Oh, it's not that big. That's the kind of thing, sorry, I'm just looking at it. That's the kind of thing that you'd want to do like on a big canvas in like yarn, I feel like. There we go, that's better. I feel like you want to do this in a yarn as opposed to, like you want to do this in needlepoint as opposed to in cross stitch. That's something to think about too. So anyway, that is my happy mail from my stitchy friend. So thank you so much. I am super excited to dig into those books and those patterns. And I think that basically I've only been cross stitching for like 6 months because, you know, I do embroidery usually. And I think I already have enough patterns to last me the rest of my life. Like those cross stitch magazines have so much stuff in them. It's really amazing. I think that's all. I think it's time to get into the stitching. I have no FOs or FFOs, no finished objects, no fully finished objects. I was trying to get at least one finished object for this week. I came close, but not quite. But we still don't have air conditioning in my house. And so we're still kind of living in different, like, we're sleeping in a different building. Essentially, our property has a house that we live in, and then it has a workshop, and then it has like a rental house that we don't rent out. We use it for storage because when I moved in, well, first of all, we don't want to deal with renters, right? That just feels stressful. When I moved in, I moved basically an entire full house into an entire full house. So I basically, all my stuff, all my furniture and stuff is basically in, which is over there, which is why I'm pointing that way. And I call it the tiny house. And we're staying there now because there's air conditioning. But there isn't like a fully functioning bathroom. The kitchen isn't great. There are boxes everywhere. So my fiance has done such a great job of making it somewhat homey, which is good since we've been in there now for like 4 weeks. But all my stuff's in here. We can't cook in there. Anyway, so I have not had the time or energy to finish or fully finish anything. That's okay. But I do have lots of whips. I'm going to show you some stitching. And I'm sorry I keep wiping myself, but like it's about 85 degrees in here, which I think is about 30 degrees Celsius. It's just warm. So let's start off with my temperature library. And this is a pattern that I designed for me and my mom, and then made available in both embroidery and cross stitch. And I put it on a frame so that way I could see the whole thing. And so here is my temperature, there we go, temperature library. And I'm a little bit behind. I think I'm at August 11th, and it's I think it's the 20th today, 19th or 20th. I don't know. I don't know what day it is. But I really like being able to see it all. It is a little bit harder to stitch just because I stitch one-handed. I don't stitch two-handed on this, and I don't have like a frame holder. So I'm just kind of like using a large frame. But it works really well. It's going to look like this at the end. And I have a cross-stitch version which will look like this, or which looks like this. And I will be having a 2022 version of this pattern that's a different permutation and organization of books, which I'll talk about later. That is my temperature library, and I house it in my book bag, my books bag. I'm using the DMC that's called for in the pattern, and it is being stitched on a bleached linen from fabricstore.com. So that is my first whip. I have been working on my wedding flower. So I am making, I'm doing some stump work embroidery, which is basically 3D embroidery. And so I'm doing some, this is silk shading with some silks from Devere yarn. You can see how shiny it is. And basically you use wire, and I'm going to cut them out and put them together as a flower. I had hoped to have that done for today's video, and that just did not happen for various reasons. I just couldn't focus on it. I think I did these 2 petals, and I started a 3rd petal, and then I have this petal and then 3 more I want to do. And then I can cut it out and do it. So that should be done by next week, and I'll talk about next week's video, you know, later. So this is just like a polyester chiffon. I think it's definitely plastic because it melts, which is why I'm using it, because I want to melt around the outside after I cut it out. And I am using, let me show you my silks. And I am using 4 different Devere yarns silks in size 6. And so I have Crystal is the white, Biscuit, Gold, and Light Laurel is the blue-green. And these are super thin, and the purpose of them is for silk shading. So So that's what I'm using for this project. I bought tons more of the biscuit gold and white crystal that I'm not going to use because this is I was planning on making 3 flowers. There is no way I'm going to be able to make 3 flowers. I'm going to have 1 flower, which will be kind of like the centerpiece of my bouquet. And then I'll have little filler around it. And I'll talk about that, I think. Well, I won't talk about that. I'm going to experiment with that and I'll show it to you next week. And I'll talk about my next Friday's video at the end. My plans for that. But it's hard to fit in its little plastic bag because of all the wires. I've been working on my Bear and Bees. This is from a medieval bestiary that is, I believe, at the British Library. And he's essentially like a medieval Winnie the Pooh. And if I can find a before picture, I'll put it here. And now I have 4 out of 5 bees done. So I have 4 out of 5 bees done, and I decided to use that Biscuit De Vere Yarns silk for the bees. I started outlining the table a bit. I don't know if you can see that. And I've also, I think, worked a little bit on the bear. So all I have left is 1 more bee, the bear's head, and the outline of the table and the bee skeps. And I have there are some spots. So let me just show you the picture again. There are some kind of spots in the sky that I'm going to do. But this, I was hoping to finish this for today and it just didn't happen. Oh well, I'm not going to worry about it. And the fun thing about this is that the top of the picture is red and the bottom of the picture is white. And so I was trying to figure out how I could do that without having to kind of stitch all of the red or all of the white, right? If I did it on red fabric, I'd have to stitch all the white. If I did it on white fabric, I'd have to stitch all the red. So what I ended up doing was just using red and white fabric and kind of sewing through them both. So if you look at the back, I have a piece of cotton muslin on the back and it's sewn through both of them so that they'll stay together. Now, I don't know how I'm going to finish this. I don't have any idea, but I'm very happy with it. And I think that it will, I don't know, it's just really fun. And putting the silk biscuit wings just makes it really nice because, I'm going to bring up the picture again, sorry. I think that the wings in the picture, let's see if you can see it better in this picture. I have kind of a, yeah, you can kind of see, this one got hit by water, but I think the wings are actually gilded. I think they're gold leaf. And so I didn't want to gold leaf this. I could have, but I didn't want to. So I decided to stitch it in biscuit instead. And I like the effect. So that is my Bear and Bee. And again, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I don't know what it's going to turn into. My final whip is from that June 21 Just Cross Stitch, and it is Wildflowers with a View. And this is my first attempt at a full coverage that I decided to do out of this. I should have picked something a little bit more colorful and dynamic because I'm a little bit bored with the colors. So what I did was, and this is being stitched on I think it's a 16 count Aida, maybe an 18 count, I don't know. But I was kind of working in the sky, and then I'm like, I can't handle the sky anymore, so I started working down here in the flowers and stuff. And so now I'm kind of going back and forth. So I'm almost done with this really pale color, and then I have this really pale color, and I'm just like, I'm also doing this on a paper chart, which is not super fun for me. I struggle with counting and I don't really have a highlighter. So I've started using an orange friction pen, which works pretty well. But I mean, I'm making progress. I think this is going to be a slow one. This is not going to be a quick stitch for me, and I just have to accept that. And I'm doing it in all of the called for DMCs. I'll just show you. So I just have all the called for DMCs just on floss drops. And I mean, it's going along. When I'm feeling like I want to work on something that I don't have to think about, I pull this out and it works pretty well. I put 1 or 2 you know, 1 or 2 threads in and call it a day. And I feel like I'm getting some progress on it because I think in the end it is going to look nice. And I think I'm going to make it into a pillow or something like that. Like a cushion pillow, not just a, not like a deck, like a, I'll basically put a border around the outside and make it into a pillow that you can like put on a couch. Not a pillow that you put in like a dough bowl, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Those are all the whips that you have seen before. And now I have a new start. I know that I said I wasn't going to start anything new until I had a finish, but in my defense, last week, so our semester started, classes started this past week. I'm not teaching, but the week before is like the faculty development conference where you have kind of the meetings and you find out where, like, what's happening with all the stuff and all the new additions and stuff like that. And I don't technically have to go to those things because I'm on sabbatical, but I am still a member of like my university community. So I decided to go to these things. But most of them are just Zooms where my camera's turned off and my phones and like my mic's turned off and I don't have anything to contribute. It's just them relaying information to me. In fact, one of them was someone playing a video over Zoom. Can I beg the world to stop playing videos over Zoom? If it's a video, you can just post that online and people can watch it. People will watch it if they need to watch it. Like, if someone's going to go to an optional Zoom session, please don't play a video. Please. I'm like begging. I'm begging you to not play a video. Anyway, that is a digression. I feel like we've been Zoom meeting and virtual for a year and a half. You'd think that people would have figured out how horrible it is to watch videos over Zoom. If you do that, stop. It's horrible for the person on the other end. Okay. Anyway, while all this was going on, I decided to design a new cross stitch pattern. So I've done little sneak peeks on my Instagram, but I haven't shown the whole thing. So I'm going to just do a screenshot of the stitched up, the like mock-up here so you can see it. So this is my merfolk. I originally charted it in different shades of gray because I was thinking mer people don't see the sun very much. Gray seems good. And I like doing it in 3 colors because I like these to be very beginner friendly. I like them to be easy for me to stitch because if they're easy for me to stitch, then they're easy for other people to stitch. And I want them to be incredibly accessible to people who don't cross stitch much, but also interesting enough for people who do lots of cross stitch to want to do them. I hope I've hit that kind of happy medium. Don't know if I have. I do them for me and I offer them to other people. Okay, so I originally charted them in gray, which is what you saw. But when I went to go find flosses, I didn't want to go to the store. So I wanted to use flosses that I already had. And so I went into my DMC box, didn't have the grays I wanted, didn't have any good grays at all, really. So then I'm like, well, I don't know, people kind of like purple mermaids. So why don't I do it in purple? So I decided to do it in 3 different colors of purple. I'm doing 210 is the light one. 552 is the medium one. And 550 is the dark one. So I think that they look really pretty together, those 3 colors, and I'm really excited. And then I realized something that delights me and makes me laugh every single time I say it. They are purple mer people because they are, you know, they're a mer masculine and a mer feminine, which means that they're basically purple merples. I think I'm gonna call the pattern Purple Merple. Purple Merples. Purple Mer people. Purple Merple. Well, I find it hilarious. And it just makes me laugh every time I think about it. So as soon as I realized that I could call it Purple Merple, I obviously had to do it in purple. I think I am gonna also try and chart it in multiple colors, so it's kind of like an actual scene. But that, I don't know, we'll see. We'll see about that. But the one thing I am going to add is I'm going to add a thin border around the outside, because I do want this pattern to be the same size as the Harpy and Dragon and the Red Deer, and it's slightly smaller. I also think it needs a little bit on the outside for weight. But, you know, you can't like design a chart and then not start it. So this is my little start, and I'm doing this on a sort of color and cotton grab bag. I don't know if you can see, it's a little bit greener. I guess that's about the color. I just thought that green would be nice and watery. Green would be nice and watery. And I've done the little, here, let me just fold it. I don't know why I'm holding up the whole thing. And I've done the little jellyfish. And I'm starting the mer mask. Mer masculine. The masculine mer. Right? So this is my start of Purple Murple. And sorry, I just can't. I have to laugh. I haven't been working. This was kind of a one evening right after I designed it. I stitched this much. It's like 300 stitches or whatever. And that's it. And I'm just keeping my needle in my thing like a savage. I am taking this and rolling it up like a savage. And that's how it's stored. So that is my new start. And that when it's stitched, and when I am going to play around with changing, with offering a second color option that is a more seen color option, right? Just to, I think it's still going to be purple based. I think like their tails and stuff are still going to be the same color, but like the seaweed's going to be green and their skin tones are going to be more like human toned skin tones. The jellyfish probably won't be purple. It'll be kind of whites and creams or something like that. Anyway, so yeah, I think I'm going to chart a color variation on that. So that's my new start. And speaking of new designs, I have been thinking about my 2022 temperature library. So that will be available probably in October. I need to design it by the end of September because I am donating a kitted up version of that to the charity auction to support murdered and missing Indigenous women charities that a couple of Flosstubers are kind of hosting, including Michelle G. Bendy Stitchy. So I want to make sure that I have that done in time, and that's going to be September and October. So I just want to make sure I have that chart done by that time. I also had a bit of a brainstorm. I have an idea for another really fun temperature pattern. It's just going to be available in cross stitch because I think it would be difficult to do in embroidery. I don't think it'd be like impossible to do in embroidery, but I think it would be a real hassle, like not worth it hassle for me to do it in embroidery and in cross stitch because I'm going to cross stitch it. So I'm going to have two temperature patterns going next year. I'm not going to tell you about it, but it's also going to be ready at the end of September or in October. It was inspired by my mom and by Chevis from Chevy Rel, who has a knitting podcast. Now, my knitting subscribers probably watch her because she has a great channel and she has tons of subscribers and is just a lovely person and hilarious. So if you're my Stitchy subscribers, if you don't subscribe to her, I highly recommend her. So I don't knit or crochet and she does amazing knits, but she's just really entertaining to watch. So I highly recommend watching her. But she and my mom inspired this temperature idea, and I'll reveal it when it's done. If I can get it to work. If I can't get it to work, I'm not going to worry about it, which is kind of one of the reasons why I'm not kind of like going to reveal it. And I probably won't talk about it again until it's done because it may not happen. I think it's going to happen. I think it's a really good idea, but I'm kind of excited. I had a little idea this week, and I love when I have ideas like that make me really excited. But she's also, so just as an aside, She's also been playing around with tie dyeing, and she did this like tie dye swatch that she held up and was just kind of like making fun of it and talking about how terrible it was. And I'm like, oh my God, I love that so much. I want to stitch it. And so she said she'd send it to me. So I will show it to you when I get it. I'm really excited. It's sort of very like tie dye and organic, and I think it would make a really cool abstract embroidery piece. I'm excited. So that's going to happen, and I'll show that to you when I get here, when I get it. So I want to talk about color. I mean, this is like this is just something I've been thinking about for a while, because on Instagram, you're kind of constantly bombarded with, well, at least I am, with color. In our stitching, there's tons of color. My Instagram is almost all cross stitchers, embroiderers, quilters, nail artists, macrame. I'm constantly bombarded with color. And I find color interesting because you can really tell when something was made by the color. So for example, if the bathroom in my tiny house has a blue toilet. No one like buys a blue toilet to put in their house. Like, right? Like no one buys a pink bathtub anymore. And when I was looking at this book, this picture in particular jumped out at me as like, that is clearly the 70s. So this pattern in a different color scheme would work today because macrame is big in again, right? But 15 years ago, no one had macrame. Like no one had macrame in their house. And so I just find color very interesting. And I have this piece that I did here. And this is a very late 20-teens, early 2020s color scheme. And this was inspired by a scarf that Shiloh of Cross Stitch MD, I think is her YouTube channel. She's a huge YouTuber these days. But she did a scarf or a shawl in these colors. She knit a shawl in these colors. And this is very interesting to me because then I look at things like Bryn & Co. So I'll post a picture of one of their Instagram posts here, Bryn & Co. And Modern Macrame. I'll put them up here too. And I see kind of all these people that are kind of mustards and pinks and blues and kind of dusty greens, right? That's a very now color scheme. And I find it interesting because I think in 15 years, it's going to be very dated, right? And people are going to look at these, like look at something like that, look at something like this and say, oh, that was made in 2020. Right? I mean, like the color scheme will give it away. And I just find it very interesting. And I find the current color schemes very, very attractive, right? I am totally on board with this aesthetic. Don't get me wrong. But I absolutely recognize that it is the current, 2020, like mustard is like the color, forget Pantone color of the year. Mustard is like the color that everyone cares about right now. It's really very interesting. And I'm sorry that my hair is so flat. Ugh. I'm getting my hair cut this week. I'm going to be wearing like an N95 mask getting my hair cut, but I got to get my hair cut for the wedding. So, I'll talk about that. Anyway, what are your thoughts on colors? Like what colors do you really love that are like really in right now, but you kind of know that they're not going to last? I also think the green and pink combination is feeling very big right now. I think that's very dated. I just find it very interesting. Like mustard and pink and a dusty this color, but dustier, and dusty blues and greens. Like these kind of soft colors are the colors of the year, the past couple years. But I think that those colors are going to date items. Anyway, what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on color? I just thought I would throw that out there because I've been thinking about it a lot because I see a lot of color on Instagram. My hair's looking much better after I fluffed it, so I'm feeling much better about that. I'm melting. All right. My plans for next week. So my plans for next week is to finish. Oh, the other whip that I can't show you is I've been working on my wedding dress. I've been putting gold beads in my wedding dress. So I will show you that later on. I don't want to show it on here in case Rich sees it. He does not want to see the wedding dress. So plans for next week. My focus for next week is my wedding stuff. So the wedding flower, wedding crafts, my wedding dress. That's the plan, because I have to make my bouquet and 3 flower girl bouquets. I have 2 flower girls, but there are going to be 3 little girls at my wedding. And if 2 of them have little pom-pom bouquets and 1 of them does not, that does not feel very good. So I have to make 3 little flower girl bouquets and my bouquet. I need to work on my hair thing. I don't have it easily accessible, but I'm basically putting a little bird cage, what's it called? The bird cage net onto an existing hairpiece. And I might make some pom-pom garlands if I have time. That is low priority. Low priority. I also, this is not for the coming couple weeks, but I joined an Ornament Exchange, an online Secret Santa Ornament Exchange. So I'm going to need help choosing an ornament to stitch. Basically, I need to cross stitch an ornament and finish it into an ornament. And yeah, I will look through kind of my magazines. I have a couple of winter magazines. There were some ornaments in the magazines that I got this week. And so I will ask you all to help me pick an ornament to stitch. One that you think someone would like. Because I don't really know. I'd like input, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I guess that's it. So I thought I had a lot of haul, but I don't seem to have as much as I thought I did, which makes me feel kind of good. I am going to do a no by fall, essentially. So when I get back from my wedding, which will be after Labor Day, so 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks. I don't think, I'm not going to buy anything else. I'm not going to buy craft supplies. I'm not going to, unless it's for a specific project that I'm like working on at that moment, I'm not going to buy things. I do have an advent calendar that I've already bought from Forbidden Fibers, Fiber Co. And then I will probably buy the DeVere Yarns advent calendar because I love it and I always get that. But I've been kind of stress shopping. So I'm going to show you what I got. It's more than I need at the moment, but it doesn't go bad and I will use it eventually, especially if I like don't buy things for a while. So yeah, so let's get into that. I'll show you that now. I did buy this, which is not really, I mean, it's craft related, but not really, I don't know. I got a pillow box punch. So it makes little like pillow boxes. And I have been trying to make pillow boxes actually on my own and it hasn't been going well. And so this was on clearance. So I thought I'd pick it up. So I got that. I also got some peacock feathers. And these are for, well, these are for my bouquet. I'm going to add peacock feathers to my bouquet and I might be adding peacock feathers to my headpiece. So I got some peacock feathers. I got a multi-needle felting punch with needles. And I got this because I was planning on needle felting a bag for the Crafty Toads bag make along, basically. But that was before I realized that my air conditioning wasn't working. And I can't, that's the kind of thing where you need to have kind of your own space because you're just punching and it's really annoying and other people don't want to hear it. So no needle felting has happened and no needle felting will happen until, well, now until September because I don't have time. So that whole bag of fiber that I got last time I was here, last time I saw you, I haven't touched it. I'm really disappointed because I really wanted to make that bag. Oh well, it'll be fine. I'm just disappointed. I did buy some lenses for my phone camera. So these are like fisheye, macro, zoom, that kind of a thing. And they're in this cute little case, and they're great for, I don't know, I've been taking lots of fun macro pictures. I got them for the macro lens, but you know, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see pictures of the silk shaded petals in really close up. So that's fun. I went to Joann Fabrics because I was around a Joann Fabrics. It's a bad reason, but I was around a Joann Fabrics, so I went to Joann Fabrics and I got some things. I got some vinyl, which I have tons of vinyl, but you can never have too much vinyl for making vinyl bags. I got a gold, shimmery gold satin, crushed satin, polyester satin. This is good for stitching Christmas embroidery, festive embroidery. And then I also got just some stripes, which will be nice for like Halloween embroidery, I think. I also got a 14 count Aida, just DMC Aida. There we go. I mean, that's more the right color, that color there. So I got that. Oh, and then I also got big needles, big yarn needles, because Chevy Rell posted a wrap basket tutorial. And you need these. And I want to make, you know, I love making, well, you may not know I love making, so I love making baskets too. So basically that's another thing that I can do now because I watched your tutorial. It was very helpful. And now I can like make baskets when I'm crafting. Basically, God, when the wedding's done. This wedding, I did not think, it's a pretty simple wedding. It should not take up this much of my mental space. It is taking up a lot of mental space. So it'll be nice when that's done and we're married and we're back home and we have air conditioning again. And I feel like my crafting and writing juices will flow. So that'll be nice. All right. That's what I got from Joann's. I also got my Color and Cotton flosses of the month, which are super rich colors. I love the super rich colors. They've been kind of not muted, but they've been kind of muted lately. So we have Bumblebee, Spring Moss, there we go, Abyss, look at that, variegated, oh, so nice, so nice, so nice, Coffee Bean, and Ruby. Look at that variegation. Oh, it's so delicious. So delicious. And there we go, all together. That's so nice. Beautiful. That's my Color and Cotton. And then the Black Needle Society has their vault, and so they put some stuff up on their vault. So I got some of the stuff from their like Up All Night Stitching, I think it was, and also their Pirates box. So I got this corner measurer. So this is like 1/2 inch and 1 inch. I'm surprised there's not like 2 inches too. Well, anyway, I'll figure it out. It's much thinner than I was expecting. It's kind of very bendy. I wasn't expecting it to be this bendy, but I may reinforce it and I may punch more holes in it. So that way, because it has the measurements, it just doesn't have the punched holes. So I might punch some holes in this. I also got from their Pirate box, Mystical Diamond Arts did the thread pack for that. So I thought I'd pick that up too. This is One-Eyed Willy, which I love, from the Goonies. Because who doesn't love One-Eyed Willy? That's One-Eyed Willy was definitely the best pirate. Captain Hook, who's okay. Not my fave. Dread Pirate Roberts, also an excellent pirate. I think Dread Pirate Roberts is my favorite, I think, of these. One-Eyed Willy is second. And then Captain Jack, which, you know, he's so mainstream. So those are that's the pirate pack. I also recently placed an order at Penguin and Fish just for some supplies. Oh, I have fabric. But I placed an order at Penguin and Fish for some supplies, and I got the Embroidery of the Month pattern, which I'll put a picture of right here. I had planned on stitching it this week with them, but we didn't get our air conditioning back, and so I didn't set it up. It was like one more thing for me to do, so I didn't do it. But I have it, and it's adorable. It's this adorable fox, and it is available until the end of the month at penguinandfish.com. So I'll put a link to that down below. I really miss the ladies on the Penguin and Fish, but it's just really hard to participate, you know, when you're in such a small enclosed space. Hopefully soon it'll all get squared away. So those of you who've been with me for a while know that I love fabricstore.com, which is a linen, mostly linen, and this is linen yardage store. And they have a part of their website called the doggy bags, and that is an issue for me. So basically what the doggy bags are kind of offcuts. So they're all less than a yard, or at least the ones I look at are less than a yard, and they're significantly discounted. So I kind of placed an order, and I have a whole heap of them. So I'm just gonna kind of go through them quickly and give you the names of them. Well, I might just show you the colors. I'm gonna go down a little bit here so you can see better. So we have Iris, which is a little purple gray. Blush, which is kind of a pinky, it has a pink tone. Heather. Purple Heart. Coronet Blue. Gray Violet. I think this is also Gray Violet. Microchip. Majesty. Asphalt. Shadow Gray, which is a very dusty, mauvey looking color. Natural, so this is unbleached, this is just natural flax. Oh, I didn't, this one's called like Tadalact. I don't know. That's sort of yellowy. I got 2 of those. Froth. Mosaic. Lemonade, and it is slightly yellower than you're seeing. Apricot, this is that mustard color that I was talking about earlier. Nimbus Cloud. Curry. And Safari. So those are the colors that I got, and they will live over here in this section over here, where I put my colored linens. And I'm pretty excited. So yeah, oh, let me straighten you out. That's my entire Stitchy update, which is long. I'm hoping I can edit a good bit of that out because I've been talking for over an hour, which has never happened on this channel. Well, not for a Flosstube anyway. Never happened before. But people seem to like the long ones, so I'm giving you a long one. I do have a book update and a wedding update. Wedding update's going to be short because I've already seen a little bit of it. So if you're not interested in either of those, thank you for hanging out with me. It's been great to chat with you about my stitching. And if you are interested, then stick around. Let's talk about the book. For those of you who are new, I'm writing a book. I did do a video about the book that has changed a little bit, but I'll put that video up here so you can see what the book is about and why I'm talking about it on my Flosstube. But basically, I've been really trying to get some work done. It's very difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's very difficult to do work. When I'm working in here, it's super hot. It's hard for me to focus. I had all those meetings. I've had tons of meetings for the past 2 weeks. But I have this database. It's called the International Medieval Bibliography, and it's basically the best database for medieval history. And I have it for 2 more weeks. I have it till the end of the month. And I cannot waste that opportunity because the closest for me to get that database is an hour's drive away. It's COVID times. Like, I'm not going to do it. So essentially what I've been doing for the past week is I made a spreadsheet of all of the topics that I found when I went through my dissertation, and in a spreadsheet. And so I'm basically like going through that and doing as many searches as possible and getting as many articles and books as possible on all of those topics. So those are the topics that like I want to expand on in the book. So that's what I'm doing this week, is I am doing all that. Last week, I took all of the different sections and I moved them into their own files. So that way I could see how much information I had on each topic. And what I discovered is one of my main topics has 0 information. So yeah, so I am getting stuff done. I'm not being nearly as productive as I should be or have to be, but I'm doing what I can, considering I'm really stressed out. I'm miserable. Like, I just feel miserable. I'm tired all the time. Yeah, it just has not been fun, but I've been trying my best. I've really been trying my best. I did email my editor and say, what if it doesn't happen? Like, what do I do? Because it might not happen by the deadline, not just because of my current situation, but because like, it's really stressful being in the middle of a pandemic. Like, it's stressful and it fills up your brain. And like, my brain has like very little space for work like this. And I'm going to do my best, but it's hard. And I'm in Mississippi and we're not having a surge. I mean, like, we lead the world per capita in COVID cases. Like, my state leads the world per capita COVID cases right now, which means that I'm isolating again. And no one around me is wearing masks. I mean, it's like the wildest thing. And so it's just really stressful. And then all the other stuff happening in the world, you know, the stuff happening in Afghanistan, the stuff happening in Haiti, like, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I'm having trouble focusing, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I did get some work done. I'm doing my best. But we have a tree outside that's dying and is dropping limbs, and we're afraid they're going to drop a limb on the only house that we're living in at the moment. Like, it just, oh, and then our kitchen sink stopped working last week. So that just got fixed this week. So like, we had no kitchen sink for a week and a half. I mean, it was like the most ridiculous. It's been the most ridiculous. And I can't even really complain because I have it pretty good, right? And that's the thing too, is that I feel guilty that it's stressing me out so much. Anyway, that was a lot that none of you needed. I think I'm going to keep it in anyway because this is real town here. But I'm doing my best. And I have gotten some stuff done, which I feel good about. That's my book update. There you go, my book update. Wedding update. Wedding update's going great. I mean, we're planned. The wedding is planned. We have everything booked. We have deposits in. I paid for the cake today. We have tents happening. The dress fits. I got a new dress. I got a larger size dress. I think I told you this. I got a larger size dress. It fits fine. I think I found shoes. If they don't work, I have backup shoes. Yeah. Oh, I want to show you. I'll show you this. One of my borroweds is this purse, this little purse that was my grandmother's. My grandmother passed away in March, I think. And this was her bag. So I'm going to wear this bag. And then I'm also wearing her necklace. My aunt is lending me her necklace to wear. Yeah, so I'm going to wear that. Sorry, I'm a little sad about that. Yeah, but I mean, other than that, everything is good with the wedding. It's all under control. My video next Friday is going to be basically all my wedding finishes. So if you're not interested in my wedding crafting, don't watch next week. Basically, it's going to be a wedding crafting video. And so I'll show you all of the wedding crafts that I've gotten done. And then I won't have a video the next Friday because it's like the Friday before the wedding and I'll be away. So then it'll be kind of 2 more weeks. So I'll I'll have another floss tube in 3 weeks, and then I'll get back to fortnightly. So it'll just like shift. Yeah, so those are all my things, all the things that have been happening. So I think that's it from me. Thank you so much for joining me. If you lasted this long, thank you so much. I appreciate it very much. I hope that you've enjoyed what I've showed you today. I feel like a lot of really interesting stuff happened in the past 2 weeks in my kind of crafting life. And so I'm happy to share it with you. So thanks for being a part of that with me. If you have any questions or comments, let me know. And I will see you next week. So with all that being said, please take good care of yourselves and have a good one. Bye.